Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of The Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Super 8. Tonight's hosts are John Comerford, Maria Kanellis, and Tamara Berg. We'll break down the movie and get you all the latest Super 8 news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off, and the buzz continues.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us for AFTERBUZZ TV's after-show breakdown of the anxiously anticipated pairing of J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg for their movie Super 8. And let's get right into first things first. Maria, I'm joined here with Maria Kanellis and Tamara Berg. So, Maria, first thing, was it super, and would you give it an 8?
It was super, and I would give it an 8.5.
Oh, look at that. All right. Nicely done.
Very nice.
Tamara, and you, overall impression, super and an 8.
I would say it was super, and yes, I'd give it an 8. I really would.
Well, that makes it unanimous.
Well,
I thought
that?
it was super as well. I would give it an 8. And we'll break down the whole thing for the individual ratings of all the categories that we want to speak to. But the thing I liked more than anything about it was it was a good opening to the summer. You know, you want that summer blockbuster.
Yep.
You want that fun. You want that popcorn movie. And for me, that's what this was. It was definitely a popcorn movie. Did you guys have that same kind of feeling when you went to it?
Very much so. It was just my first thought when we finished watching it was, boy, that was entertaining. You know, it was just that thing that you want from a summer movie. You want like a good story. You want some entertainment, and it was great for that.
I thought it would be a great drive-in movie.
Oh, nice. Good call.
You know,
good call.
On that big, giant screen, and you're in your car, and it's kind of chilly, and and then you get all freaked out because you're thinking that something's going to come in your car, and it's a great drive-in movie.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have a scene about a drive-in, too, because the quote, monster, end quote, would have been nice to see in a drive-in
type of
Absolutely,
film. Yeah.
And it was an homage to those kinds of movies as well. I appreciated that. That was great.
By the way, before we get further, I just kind of want to chime in real quick and say, as these summer movies begin, we here at AfterBuzz felt like we should cover them. And for those of you who know AfterBuzz, we've always wanted to do movies, but we've only done 2 so far because we always felt like we needed, the director in studio. Otherwise, the longevity of it wouldn't live as long. But however, we finally decided that, like with our TV shows that we cover, let's just do it. Let's just build a reputation, and then these people will come.
And we love film.
We do. And of course, we're very passionate. And I mean, just the 3 of you guys, huge credibility. I mean, Tammy, costumer, as well as among other things. I mean, Tammy,
writer as well. Co-writer.
Co-writer, there you go.
Features, also done a little bit of TV. Just actually worked on a short film with a friend of ours that we did, goodness gracious, costumes, set design. We were the art department. I also actually did craft services, and I have a teeny tiny little part in the film. So there you go. Like typical tiny budget independent films, everybody does everything.
Exactly. And John, of course, one of the actors in Serial Buddies, primary actors,
or 3 of the actors, depending on how you want to look at it.
Of course,
right?
But again, low budget movie, you have to have many roles. I actually had 3 in the movie.
3 parts.
You couldn't afford a lot of actors. So.
And if you can tell him, no one's been able to tell that yet.
Yeah, that's true. Nobody's been able to know it was me in those roles. So
and of course, he is an amazing. For those of you who listen to our other shows, such as Justified, Beyond Scared Straight, or even Whale Wars Now, or Men of a Certain Age, John is an amazing screenwriter as well as script doctor.
Yeah, awfully kind of you to say so.
Yes.
So.
And Maria Kanellis, I mean, I feel like, how do we introduce you? I mean, you've been in the mind's eye, or right?
Well,
That's the term.
first of all, super babe, right there.
Oh,
There you
hey.
go.
There's that.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
She's a super 9. I'm saying. No, I'm sorry.
Thank you, guys.
But she has more credibility than just her looks.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
Tammy and Maria did the Borgias together, and that's where you really
made
saw
their own costumes, as I imagine.
We did.
Yeah,
So fun. Very fun. Yeah. I don't know how you want to describe me, but
I mean,
you're an actress.
I'm an actress. And I did World Wrestling Entertainment for 6 years. I was on Celebrity Apprentice. Trying to think what else. Just I write music and songs, and so I always
performer extraordinaire. This is what we can say.
There
we
you
run
go.
the gamut
Thank
of
you. But I
singing.
do need your help eventually, both of you guys, because I'm writing scripts, and I'd love feedback. So
You got
we'll
it,
definitely
baby.
get to
Anytime
that.
you need it.
You got it. You got
I
it.
would, but anytime you might need that.
No, I would.
Absolutely.
I would definitely need it.
All right, and so the point is that we are qualified, and hopefully you guys will like what we have to say, and you know what? Respond to us as well at info@afterbuzztv.com. But without further ado, Super 8.
Great. And one more thing about that. Here's a caveat. Even if we're not qualified, we are movie goers. So
And
for
movie
that
fans.
right there, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has that is validity to all of it. And why not be participating in that experience that is Super 8 or whatever movie's out there and say your thoughts?
Right.
That only makes people better movie makers because they want to know what the audience is thinking,
Right.
feeling. And you always need that kind of feedback. And you can't always get it when you're in the bubble of Hollywood because you think you know better. But the audience is at the end of the day, the audience is the one that's going to tell you what to make and how to make it and what's
And
gonna
whether
work
or not
what
it
isn't gonna
works.
work. Exactly.
And
So-
it also makes it a lot more fun to get a different opinion on something or a different side of the story. Because
Right.
maybe you'll say something or you'll say something that makes me think about the movie in a completely different way.
Exactly.
Which
No
will make
question.
me want to watch more of those films
Yeah.
by those individuals. So,
Yeah.
So, and speaking of that story, let's get back into Super 8. So this, to me, was an homage to many, I thought of it, when you see it, first of all, for me, I was thinking of those sci-fi thrillers back in the 50s and 60s. Not that I really saw those, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It had that sensibility. And they also put it, they said it right there in 1979, which I thought was an interesting choice as well. And I'm wondering what you guys felt about it when you saw it. You saw the costumes and the music and everything really steeped you in that time period. Were you guys taken back to that time?
I loved how they really made that style of film come out in this one. I thought, in a way, little parts of it were a tiny bit over the edge for me because it looked a little more like, how did you say it afterwards? You said it was, I thought it was more... I wanted it to be kind of an interpretation
I said
of
it was
those movies,
more of an homage
and
than
you
a
said it was more of an
reinterpretation.
homage or a reinterpretation. And in that sense, it seemed to me a little kind of just a hair over into the, maybe I was laughing at it and not with it in some places.
Yeah.
But I love that how they tried it and the whole tone about how the music was. And I remember there's one point where Kyle Chandler, the deputy, is standing next to his car, and the camera zooms in on him as he's making a decision to go find his kid or something like that. And that was so typical of the time. And I really enjoyed those little bits because it was definitely kind of a walk down the memory lane and nostalgia.
It made me feel so much like the Stand By Me's and
that's
the
what we
Abyss.
thought,
That's exactly
and
what we had said. Yes.
And even going into Alien and
Yes.
that whole. But I loved how it was suspenseful enough that you didn't need to see all the CGI.
Right.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
Yeah, they were
think
very, very discerning
careful
about when
about
they
it.
used it.
They're
Yeah.
very careful, and I'm so glad because
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of CGI.
Exactly. They were very restrained on that. I really appreciated it as well because
Yeah.
it's so overdone, and you just get blasé about it. You go, great, you did it on a computer. Who
Yeah.
cares? But
Pretty
they did a
computer
really good
stuff.
job of
Yeah.
withholding that, as well as they did a good job of withholding the monster, the alien from us. So we
Thank
didn't see
God
that.
they did that. Thank
Yeah,
God they
yeah,
did that.
yeah. So they took a page out of Jaws.
Yes.
Don't show the shark till you have to. Of course, on Jaws, they couldn't show the shark because it wasn't working. But in this case, it paid off well for them. And it's interesting you mentioned nostalgia, because this so far the tracking is that older audiences are really enjoying this movie because of the nostalgia.
Sure.
Either they're going to it because they want the nostalgia of a Steven Spielberg movie, or they want that, it's set in 1979 in the music. So I think the parents are taking their kids to it, so they have a great time because they hear the music, they see the clothes, they feel that way, and the kids are just loving the stories because it's like Stand By Me meets Goonies meets E.T. And they did for the most part they put a good job of putting.
Like there was that one scene where it was showing the crash site and everything, and it reminded me so much of E.T. How pretty it was.
Yes.
It was like this intense crash site beyond. I know when they were filming up on that hill, and it was beautiful. But
speaking of the crash scene, now when that first crash hit, they had the big train thing, and they're filming, which is the whole movie's about getting that thing, capturing that crash on film to some degree. So that thing happens, and that thing went on for days.
I know, forever.
It's the longest train in history.
And then longer, and then a little bit longer, and then again, and then some more.
Oh my God! Now there's an inciting incident, but it wasn't really. It was an inciting week.
Yes, it was, and nobody died.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Except the train station. Boy, they took that train station out. That thing was gone.
Seriously.
It was like, just when I thought it was going to stop, and I'm going, oh God, that was impressive. Oh, okay, we're still going.
Okay.
All right. Okay,
it was like all the hairs on your neck were standing up, and once they started to go down, they were like, "Oh, some more!
Exactly.
I got to stand up some more."
I have to tell you though, literally, as I'm watching it, I was watching I noticed the people in the audience. There more than one. I said quite a few people cupping their ears because it was so loud.
I had earplugs in because I want to be able to hear past the age of like 50, and so so I had earplugs in.
It was like being at a Who concert
so loud
for the older people listening to this. Yeah.
Exactly. It was so loud.
Yeah, it was very loud, but it was a great scene. I mean, it went on forever, but I loved it, and I thought they did a great job. I mean, the poor kid, nobody got hit, not even injured, just a little dirty,
little dirty.
I gotta scrape. My favorite line of the whole movie. The whole thing happens. I gotta scrape.
Great character, but okay, that was terrific. Oh
So
my God,
good.
that was hysterical. And then they had the nice, the classic, jib shot up over everything.
Yes.
So you can see how far it just,
The expanse of this
splayed
wreckage.
out.
But it wasn't just, hey, random jib shot. It was, we're going to climb
specific,
up,
absolutely.
and now we're showing you what the kids are seeing.
And
Great
that's
stuff.
another one of those beautiful moments, like you were saying. They're climbing up there. You see them, and you know it's coming, and it's just like
It's just up over their eyes, and oh my God,
it was
Oh,
beautiful.
man,
it was beautiful in its in its horror.
So, and of course, that sets everything off. How did this thing happen? And then we get into the big story about the whole thing. So, but speaking to the story, did you enjoy the story itself? I mean, we've seen this kind of story before. There's an alien out there. There's the bad military. They're doing all kinds of experiments, and he's a monster who's misunderstood. For lack of a better way of saying it. He's a misunderstood monster who can communicate telepathically. And,
that was,
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it because there was actual character development, which I've been missing out on so much in film right now. Television does a great job, but in film,
they take more time. So.
I haven't seen character development or even the relationships being built between people. Yeah. So I was just very happy to see that.
Yeah, that was nice to see. Yeah, and I thought, story-wise, I thought, it's effective story. They told the story well. Mm-hmm. They did. It was very breezy. I mean, they kept the pace going.
Yeah, slightly old-fashioned in that sense, where things were simpler. You've got you start out with the dysfunctional family,
the classic Steven Spielberg,
exactly,
dysfunctional
family. Poor mother's dead. We're all sad. The oddball kids who band together.
Exactly. A bunch of misfits.
Exactly.
You had the fat one. You had the skinny one. You had the nerdy one. You had the
teeth.
The teeth. Yeah. Exactly, the brace guy.
I like to blow stuff up.
Love to blow stuff up. Yeah, and it's all fun.
I enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
I did.
You had your little archetypes there, and they did great scenes together when they were fighting over, throwing French fries at each other and singing My Sharona. So you had that nice, good stuff there between the kids. So I thought that was great.
And very Stand By Me, like you were saying, that the kids coming together.
Yeah,
and I love that. It was I love that about it.
Yeah.
And I and again, we've been over this terrain before, but they did it well. And I wish they had taken if they'd taken a little bit, I said this the other day, or last night I should say, if they had taken just a little bit off the time in that big crash sequence, if they had taken some time away
like
from that.
20 seconds or so.
Just a little bit.
Or 15 minutes.
15 minutes, exactly.
And I wanted them to have, at the end, I really wanted to care more about the necklace and the kid and it just wasn't there for me, and I just missed out just a little bit. I just wanted to kick it off a little bit there.
I'm a big crier, as you know. Everybody probably knows that about me anyway. Yeah. But I'm a big crier, and I did not shed a tear in this movie, and it made me sad.
Well,
I didn't cry.
I know we wanted that, but I'm sure not everybody does, and maybe that's not what they were going for. That's not this kind of movie. I mean, you don't really see that in this kind of homage and everything. But it would have been nice, because they were. It was like they were
tugging at the heartstrings. They were.
Yeah, but I wanted a little bit more on that one. On that
it was almost like you needed either a flashback or something to show the relationship between the son and the mom.
And they tried that with the home movie thing, but
it just wasn't quite there.
It was so close, and I was like, you're
he's still a baby. I need him to be like yesterday, not a baby, to show the relationship.
Good point. Yeah. But they and so obviously they knew they wanted something like that. They knew they needed something like that, and they were going for it at the end. They really wanted. I think they really wanted us to have this nice emotional thing,
like the
connection.
Titanic.
Speaking of meaningful necklaces. Right?
and our hearts will go on, even though we didn't have that particular
and on, like the train crash.
But did it all? Because obviously this was J.J. Abrams. This was not Steven Spielberg writing or directing. He produced it. J.J. Abrams, of course, wrote it and directed it. But it did seem like, okay, I'm going to stay in that wheelhouse. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the Steven Spielberg. And it was almost like it was an homage to Steven Spielberg as well. It was like he was picking up where Steven had left off in that regard. Did anybody else? Did it feel like a Spielberg movie in that sense?
It did.
It did.
Yep. Definitely.
Yep.
So even like the monster.
Even
itself.
the monster, yeah.
And I don't think he was making any apologies or trying to veil that.
No, I don't think so.
I think he was absolutely putting it out there.
Yeah, I think they really just were let's make a good popcorn movie. Because
did you find that sometimes the parts that, like when he was on the water tower and all that stuff is going on, it was a little disconnected between how they shot the family, the father and son, and then the rest of the cops and everybody else that was around. I felt like it didn't integrate very well. And a couple of times during it, I felt that way, that it was like, these are the people and there's the monster. And I almost wish they would have
figured out how to get them together.
Yeah, like there was some kind of effect that they were putting on both of them that it wasn't meeting in the middle sometimes. I don't know if
I think they tried to accomplish that in the underground part when he had the kid in the hand. Yeah, but there seemed to be a few steps in between that you could have moved that arc along. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, no, just the way that it was filmed.
Oh, okay.
The way that it was filmed sometimes, it was a little bit like there was a certain effect on the kids, and then there was a certain effect that was on the monster.
And it just disconnected.
And it disconnected, especially when they were in scenes together sometimes, like the scene with the water tower. It just seemed to disconnect. But other than that, I had no complaints about.
That's great.
That kind of stuff.
What you'll tell us about what you said, what you twittered.
Oh, what I twittered. Oh, I already kind of said it.
But there was one thing you didn't Twitter. That's the thing I was curious about.
That was what it was.
Oh, that disconnection.
Yeah, the disconnection.
Interesting.
Sometimes just between the way that it was filmed, right there. I didn't, but it could just be me looking for something.
Well, just speaking about the Boogity Boo, the bad guy, which is General Nellick, I think. Yeah, he's our archetypical
nemesis,
the military guy who's going to do everything he can to, I guess get
these darn nasty kids.
But in the beginning, it was trying to get all the information he could out of the alien or get the technology or whatever. So he's for national security, and now he's turned into a bad guy because at the end he's killing people to to try to get information out of him. Or I should say, because he couldn't get information, I decided, let's just end the guy.
Right.
And how did this mad scientist become a high school biology teacher, hell-bent on freeing a misunderstood monster? Why did he end up there?
I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of that suspension of disbelief in this film, you know?
And you gotta, and the good news is they go by fast enough, you just kind of like, you don't, it doesn't even bother, you don't even think about it, and then afterwards I'm going,
hey, wait a minute.
Hey, what the heck is that guy doing in a high school biology class? How did he get there?
Maybe he just got tired of it all.
Yes, that's
the
what
politics were just too much for him.
I had to make a stand. That's it. I'm going to live my life as a high school biology teacher.
That's all I'm going to do.
Exactly, and collect toy football games.
And have guns in my car with me when I'm meeting these kids. That was creepy.
That was
Can I tell you that?
So right after the train wreck,
me out.
By the way, he causes the train wreck, and and he survives that massive train wreck.
They all live.
Yeah, even he survived.
Massive train wreck, and you gotta, they did a good job of making it look pretty bad. But then it's all of a sudden the kids go over, they're trying to help him out, and because they obviously know him because he's their biology teacher.
Yes,
he pulls
a weapon on him.
Pulls a gun on him, but he does it for their own good. Of course, he just wants them to go because if you don't go, they're going to kill you and your
family,
and puts their kids.
And it just so happens the train goes right through his hometown.
Yeah, well, he had the map. Remember, he knew
he was following
the
train.
He had the map, but he wanted it to be very close to his town.
Well,
because he was teaching there. He needs to get there in the morning to teach the students.
I don't want to drive that far if I'm going to, derail a train.
Exactly.
It's just me. I'm going to go close by.
He's got a good night's sleep before class after the train wreck.
But, okay, no, we're having fun at the movie. But even though we're saying all this, it's fun. You're just watching, just leave part of your brain at home to try not to, overthink these things, so it is fun.
I think that's absolutely the key to this. Just really enjoy, like we were talking about, the tone, the
Great
nostalgia, the kids, all the performances.
Yeah, let's go. Since we're talking about, let's go to the cast. I thought the casting was terrific.
I did too.
The main character Joe. His name is Joel Courtney. It's his first
film.
So what a find! Whoever the casting director. I don't know the cast. I don't have that written down. But whoever decided on Joe, kudos to you. Sorry, whoever decided on Joel Courtney, kudos to you. I thought the young man did a superb job. I thought he did a really
April
good
Webster.
Job. She was the casting director. Thank you very much. So,
April Webster and
April.
Elisa Weisberg.
Right.
Weisberg.
And whoever made the final thumbs up on that, good for you guys. Nice. This guy.
He was so good.
But how much did he look like Elliot?
Yes.
Same kind of hair.
Same kind of eyes.
Exactly.
Those big, sort of innocent eyes.
Yes.
Exactly. He was practically wearing the same clothes because it's set in the same time.
Yes. That's right.
But why not?
This is the flip side of E.T.
But movies are supposed to make you feel something. And when I was watching it, all I could think about was when I was little and watching E.T. for the first time and just how I felt.
Yeah.
And that's...
And did it work? And did it do
good
that for you?
job,
Did it
guys.
Okay,
that's
terrific.
Fabulous.
And then, of course, Elle Fanning.
Oh my gosh.
Good job. Specifically for me, those two particular scenes, one at the train station before they were filming, when she was rehearsing.
Yes.
And she didn't know she could cry, and she didn't know and she does it, and all the guys are just, of course, they're falling in love with her at the time.
And the guy at the phone booth behind him.
In the background.
The face he was making was
adorable.
amazing.
Yeah.
But she's
does a fabulous job there. And then the other scene.
Well, I was looking at her resume on IMDb. Man, she has got a heck of a resume. She's got I don't know, 15 films and
The Curious
20.
Case of Benjamin Button,
and she's the
Babel,
sister of Dakota
I Am
Fanning,
Sam.
so I guess it runs in the
so
genes.
many things, yeah.
So good for them.
She was 13 in this movie.
Yeah.
And such
nice
incredible depth
and maturity. And the other scene I really liked was, so we saw her there pretending to cry.
Right.
And then later on we see her when she's watching the movie with Joe and their home movies of his mother.
Yeah.
And that's when we first realize that she knows it's her father's fault that his mother is dead because her father didn't go to work. His mother had to fill in for him, and that's what caused the accident that caused her death. But there we got to see her really cry, because this was something that was real to her.
touching.
So I thought, what actress wouldn't want to do that? I get to pretend fake cry and then real cry. Of course, I know it's pretend in the movie, but she did just a fabulous job. And the great work of the camera, just staying on her, letting her have that moment and just letting it breathe, not trying to fake it or intercut or do anything. We just sit there and let the actor do what the actor needs to do. I thought that was terrific. I thought that was a great restraint as well.
That's a great scene.
It was a great scene.
With the projector in between them and him kind of sitting there and paying attention but not really paying attention and her just right there.
Yeah, and very well composed, that whole shot. That that great shot with the light flickering in her eyes, and it was just terrific. I thought that was so. Again,
agreed.
Yeah, terrific job for her. And of course, Kyle Chandler, always good. If you ask me, I think they're always guys. He's one of those guys that always turns in a good performance.
I love Kyle Chandler. I was a big Friday Night Lights fan, and continue to watch it I've seen the last season already on DirecTV, and now the last season is coming out on NBC, and watching it again, and I just love him. And I thought it was funny how he occasionally had a Texas accent.
Well, now come on, now. We don't know.
Maybe he was from Texas.
That's right.
Hadn't lived.
He might have
lived
grown
in
up
Ohio.
in Texas.
But he lived in Ohio for 15 years.
He moved to Ohio to be near his wife's family.
I find it
So he has a
endearing. I am
backstory.
not
Okay.
criticizing.
All right,
I think
yeah.
it's
You know
adorable.
what's so funny, Tamara, before you came, John was trying to decide if he wanted to bring that up or not. You guys are hilarious.
Apparently, I did want to bring it up.
Because you both said it, but that's so
I love
cute.
Kyle Chandler. I love him.
terrific.
I think
Oh, he's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
And we have Ron Eldard playing, what's his name? Louis Diamond, I believe. It was Alice's dad. He's always good, too. He did a great job of being the low-life guy. He's lost
kind of
his
hippie
wife.
stoner.
Yeah. Who is the guy who doesn't show up for work for whatever reason. I'm guessing he was either drunk or hungover or whatever.
He said hungover.
Is that what he said?
Yeah,
okay, so
he'd been
was
drinking.
hungover.
He'd been drinking.
And that's why he didn't go to work, and Joe's mother had to go instead.
Moral of the story? Drinking is bad.
Drinking is very bad.
There you go.
Which is
Thank you,
also
Aesop.
perfect for this kind of movie. There's always some kind of...
And that's what they also said in the middle of the movie. Hey, drugs are bad.
Drugs are so bad.
Oh my gosh, that guy was amazing.
The stoner.
I love the stoner guy.
Yeah, that was good.
And that is also straight out of that time
Yes,
period of
that is,
movies.
yes.
I mean,
Yes.
there was always that guy,
Hey,
the
dude,
older stoner
What kind
guy.
of music does your sister like? I don't know. Disco?
Disco.
I guess I could get back into that.
Yeah, that was great.
Nice.
Very funny.
Good stoner dude.
Yes.
Good stoner dude. Who else? Oh yeah. Okay. Now Noah Emmerich. He was the guy that played General Nellick. Now Noah, I think, always does a great job too. He's one of those guys you can always depend on. He's going to give you his best, and he did it there too. And he didn't really have a lot to work with. They didn't really give him a lot to work with.
No, they didn't.
Not much of shall we say, of an agenda other than being the classic general.
Classic,
guy.
object of bad guys.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Just while we were watching the film, and because there were so many little sort of nods to other Steven Spielberg films and other moments of that time, his name stuck out for me, Nellick, and it was kind of bugging me through the entire movie because it was such an unusual name. I thought, what is that? What does that mean? And I did look it up, and I thought it's just like a name.
Yeah.
It's a name. It's an English
British
surname. So it's a region in England, or a city or a township or something like that. The one thing that I could find that might be a connection was that NELIC is an acronym for non-electric. And so I don't know, could we maybe think that that's because he's not plugged in. He's, he's completely just devoid of feelings and stuff. I might be making way too much up of that.
That's probably the writer going, I know somebody that by the name of Nellick,
and I'm going to put him in this movie. It probably is something like that.
That's been a bad guy before.
Noah?
Nellick. I think that's been...
The name?
That name.
Oh, really?
I think it's been...
Okay. We'll have to do some research on that.
I think it's been a bad guy before. I really think so.
I was working with it kind of when I was afterwards as I was driving home, I'm trying to, and I'm thinking, is it like HAL and IBM in 2001? And is there like a word, game in there? I couldn't figure it out.
I think you're really taking that.
I know I am,
far.
but it
Remember,
just
you got to leave part of your brain at home on.
I know that part didn't stay. didn't. It went to the movies.
I need to figure this one out.
I did.
All right. While Marie's doing that, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to music.
It is an acronym, though.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it's... So
Network for Interactive Learning in Eastern Carolina.
Yeah, I'm thinking
nice.
maybe that's not it.
I'm sorry, big
Wait,
letdown.
also the kid who
Big
played the director.
letdown.
You really liked him a lot,
the kid
too.
who played the director. Is that Ryan Lee?
Riley, I think that's Riley Griffiths.
Riley Griffiths, okay. Well, hopefully we get that right.
He was so great in that role.
Great.
And I also love how they made fun of each other like kids make fun of each other.
Absolutely.
Without the, that's not politically correct. They're like, you're fat, man, you're this,
At least I
you're
had to sit on
ugly.
a phone book. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do, which is great.
That's what kids do.
The only thing I thought didn't quite work for me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't know of any kid in 1979 that's going to say production value. I just thought, where did that come from? I mean, I don't even think anybody even worried about
I think that they were just trying to make him so it was like
such a nerd.
So sophisticated.
That name wasn't really floating. I mean, that phrase wasn't really floating
Probably not.
around there.
Probably
so.
not. Probably
But
not.
yeah, so okay, so we got to let that one slide. Now maybe it was. I'm sure I'm going to get proved wrong now that I've said this. But that was just jumped out. I was like, what?
But why did he have to say it so many times?
Yeah.
He did say it too many times.
He did.
He could have pulled one of those back.
He could have strike one of those, would you?
Yeah, just one non.
Yeah.
Can't you say it looks great or something?
Yeah. I also liked the guy who was interested in blowing everything up. I thought he did a good job.
I really wanted a Tom Petty reference for him, though. Didn't he look like a little baby Tom Petty?
Yeah, that would have been good for
with
the
braces.
time too.
I would have. I was. Hey there, Tom Petty. You gonna go blow something up today? I was just waiting for that. It didn't come out, but
that kind of humor wasn't.
He was great. He was great too, though. Just great comic.
They all were. Even I love the guy who plays the lead in the quote little movie that they're doing he's throwing up all the time.
Puking everywhere.
That looked the oldest. He had the deepest voice, and he was the weeniest.
And exactly, weakest stomach.
The glasses are so
the glasses
big.
were amazing.
He's like, I'm throwing up over here. I'm throwing up.
And when Elle is doing at the train station when she's doing the crying thing, he's the one that cries first.
Yes.
Oh God, that was great.
Well, because he was married to her in the
absolutely
in the scene. He was into the scene.
He's so method.
He was in it.
He was so method. That's what it was.
He was good.
So, all right, okay. I've got to talk about the music because every time the music was coming in, it was cracking me up because I thought they used it terrifically. I mean, first of all, this movie has a lot of humor in it, a lot of fun stuff, and laughing out loud funny because the audience was. We
were in on the joke.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of inside jokes.
Yeah, and I think I didn't think it was done specifically for the older audience,
for the parents.
Anybody who was growing up that time, you're going to hear this music and you're going to remember it. And even before the joke actually gets there, they hear the first 2-3 chords of the song and they're laughing because they know what it's going to be. So, I mean, some of the songs. Read off some of these songs here. What do we got?
Don't Bring Me Down, ELO. That came at twice. That was in the
they were using that for a while
in the credits and in the beginning of it.
I love that we use Heart of Glass
with the kid in the at the 7-Eleven
when he's listening on his Walkman.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Walkmans. Remember they were so
Everybody laughed as soon as he said. What was his line?
The sheriffs
about the carrying your own personal portable music.
Everybody in the audience laughed.
And then when the sheriff said, "Hey, it's a slippery slope." Everybody laughed at that line too because they know where it's headed. So they know where it's headed.
I woke up this morning and I could not get out. I woke up this morning in my head. Easy by the Commodores was playing in my head. I couldn't. That's what woke me up this morning, and that happens to me all the time. And so I thought, well, that's clearly in the film because that's not normally in my genre of songs that wake me up. But that one was in my head this morning.
They did a great little bit with My Sharona when the kids are on the grassy hill.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Trying to sing it. That was a great bonding moment. It was terrific. I mean, of course, it leaves later.
Could you imagine seeing a bunch of kids singing that now?
No.
Well, and as I was walking out of the theater, there was a dad and his kid who was maybe 11 years old, and the kid was singing My Sharona to the dad, and he's going...
Okay.
The kid goes, I can't get this out of my head. I love this song.
Well, let's hope he doesn't go
hilarious.
get the album because there's a couple other songs that probably doesn't. The father probably doesn't want his kid singing. There.
Could be. Could be.
If you remember
sorry, go ahead.
The other song, I don't know if you remember it. I don't know if I want to say it, but
I don't remember it. So if you want us in on it, you have to say it.
It's Push in the Bush.
Okay. Right.
So the kid's going to go, Dad, look, I downloaded this album.
Oh.
Oops.
Yeah, but that's nowhere near as bad as some of the stuff that's out there. It's like,
absolutely.
That's
probably
true.
tame, I'm sure.
That's true. He's like, that's fine. This fireworks song.
So we got the Cars, Bye Bye Love. What else?
But no, seriously, one of the more awesome laugh moments.
What's that?
Undercover Angel.
I don't
Undercover Angel.
Yeah, I don't remember when that
Midnight
happened.
Fantasy.
When did that? Do you remember when the
I
movie?
never had
Oh
a
boy, here we
dream
go.
that made sweet love to me.
You guys want to go ahead? I mean,
No. I'm good. I'm just listening.
okay, good.
And
When in the
watching.
movie did it come up?
Yeah, I don't recall.
when the stoner was in the car. He was
of course,
smoking
kids.
and it came on.
Oh,
and
nice. All right.
It was just like, half a bar of the song, but everybody was like, "Oh!" I mean, that one got a groan in the theater where we were. It was very funny.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought music was terrific. It
Yeah.
really kept you going and then laughing at the same time.
Yes.
Put you right now. By the way, okay, now I'm moving on to costumes.
Yes.
Speaking of the songs, put you in that time period. These clothes. What do you think?
You know what? One of the things I thought was interesting was there was not a single members only jacket.
Not a
Maybe
single
because this
members
was
only?
Ohio. I grew up in California. They were ubiquitous.
Yes.
In the 70s,
Right.
from what I know,
Late 70s.
not
one.
not a members only jacket to be seen. I didn't see any Angel Flights pants. I didn't see any Kiana shirts really.
Well, we're kind of tail into that because that was more.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
76,
That was more
77.
earlier 70s. Yeah.
I think it.
But very entertaining as always.
Yeah, because you
Well, because that was
wardrobe.
part of Serial Buddies. It was
Right.
one of the intentions of the director that I had to work with was he wanted things to look kind of late 70s and
80s.
the was it 80s?
Yeah, well,
I thought it was late 70s.
There was part of it 70s, but most of it was 80s, depending on what scene.
A couple of the characters,
Yeah.
with the tight shorts, the kind of disco-looking shorts. I had to find those, and so it was. It's kind of been in my
dolphin shorts.
the dolphin shorts. Exactly, that's been in my consciousness for a couple of years now, and so I was really appreciating it how somebody with a budget did that.
Exactly.
Because we didn't
the
have much of a
hairstyles.
budget.
I mean, the hairstyles. I mean, they kind of had that going on too because a couple of them were just cracking me. Even the lead, Joe,
the
had that
one
great.
daughter.
With the feather.
Yes.
Her outfits were my favorite. The whole thing.
yeah.
My favorite.
Oh, for sure.
With always her back hanging out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
of
always
course.
the belly shirt. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she's like, these shorts are long for most of my friends.
That's right.
Yeah, they really sold it with that, especially with her hair. Oh, my
her hair was
God,
awesome.
That one
Her hair
shot of that
and
hair.
the makeup in this was great.
Wasn't there,
Yeah.
Was it glitter or what? Not
Shimmer
Shimmer.
eyeshadow.
Shimmer eyeshadow.
eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
And some
cracking
people
me.
had the red lips, which
yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot of makeup on anybody. And I loved it.
Yeah, because it can get silly.
Yes, it can get
And you start
silly,
looking at the makeup
and,
instead of the-
yes,
the-
and especially with HD. Oh my gosh! And you're like, I see a brushstroke right there.
Yep.
So I was very happy with the makeup and the clothes because I didn't really get taken out of it. So
Right.
that meant
And a lot of
job.
the, it's just kind of speaking of the overall look, the production design too. There was,
Yeah.
some really fascinating art in finger quotes on the walls and, light fixtures and things
Yeah.
that were just perfect throwbacks.
In the hallway there of the next door neighbor's house, was it the director's house? Kranick? I can't remember. Kasnick. Okay. So, because Joe goes over there quite often. And so their house is just a mess. It's just noisy. It's loud. Just shut those kids. I want to take that bat and hit a couple of those kids. So, but in the hallway there, right at the entry where the door is, what was that thing on the wall? It looked like some weird
The starbursty
spirograph.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was art. That was art.
it was art then.
That was
Now
a
it's
mistake.
trash.
It was-
Yeah.
it was- oh my God,
What
that
was
was
going on in
god-awful.
the one scene at that house where the director and then the Carrie were talking and they were talking and then something was happening behind them on a bed or a couch. I didn't understand that.
I don't know which scene. Do you remember one in the
Oh
movie?
gosh, it was.
Is that when they
It's about the middle.
they were watching
they
the
haven't.
news report of the train?
They were watching that, but behind them there were literally people falling off
Oh yeah, they were
couches.
just brothers and
It's just
sisters, brothers
kids.
just
Wrestling.
messing around. Yeah, just wrestling around. They constantly had something happen in the background just to make you feel like you were
In
my
the house.
God. I was going. First of all, I've never experienced that in a house, that kind of craziness. Now, maybe it happens. I grew up
Ruckus, yeah.
I grew up with 7 kids. We didn't have that kind of craziness.
Really?
Yeah. Granted, I had a father that
Drill
didn't allow
sergeant
it.
as a
Yes,
dad.
true. He was a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do that at the dinner table. You had a bat at the dinner table, that thing would end upside your head. I mean, that was crazy.
We're still loud. We're horrible.
Oh no, we're loud, but there's no way that kind of thing would happen in my
There wouldn't
house.
be a sword at the table in my house for sure.
You would get throttled with that
Yeah.
thing, man. But maybe it was. I guess my upbringing was uncommon as well. So
yeah.
But I was annoyed like crazy. I thought, would somebody shut these kids up? Why are you letting them run roughshod?
Well, that too. I think that was also in that time period how the mom and dad were parents as well. Because they were kind of hands
more permissive.
off. Yes.
Very hands off.
I mean,
he even turns to his wife, hey, could you get the twins to quiet?
Can you?
So you walked right by them.
Yes.
Use your shoe. That's what I get. All right, sorry.
I'll put it down.
Exactly.
I didn't mean it.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
That's so bad. Come on.
I'm getting
I'm
censored
just saying
over here.
it could be interpreted as a child abuse.
Child abuse.
Oh my God!
Child abuse.
Please.
Oh, yeah. I used to joke that we had remote controls way before there were remote controls because it was my dad's shoe come flying through the air, hit you in the head, and you go, what? You change the channel.
Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what we would do.
There you go.
It was nice. It was fun. All right, so we did the music, we did the costuming, the hair. I want to move on to cinematography since we kind of touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
For me, it was fun. I
loved it.
Except for that one, and I think a lot of that has to do with a little the cinematography. You're talking about that disconnection you were mentioning for those few times. But other than that, I thought they did a really good job of just putting things in front of you that you needed to see. They did a great job of stuff happening in the background that was out of focus. We talked about that one scene at the train station where something really important is happening in the foreground, and in the background you have the guy mouthing. He's on the telephone mouthing words. He's obviously not saying anything.
Right.
He's just opening and closing his mouth.
He's carrots and peas or whatever.
Audience was laughing hysterically at that. I thought they did that great throughout. Anyway,
or in the house at the end when all the explosions are happening and the guy with the leg is broken and behind them there's like troops marching through and he's like, this is gonna hurt. I haven't done anything yet. But like behind him you get this whole scene. It's chaos. It was amazing.
People running pell-mell.
Pell-mell, nice.
And willy-nilly.
Tammy did the Times crossword this morning.
I did do the LA Times crossword puzzle this morning.
But I did also like how they showed you how old things were. Like when the guy was up working on the phone booth and the telephone pole, the crane operator, and then all of a sudden comes like a dishwasher or something, and you got to zoom in on it and go, oh yeah,
right.
and then you move on. And it wasn't too long, but you did go, oh yeah, I had one of those. And then
exactly.
That's what they looked like. Okay, I got it. You know, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And the cinematography. I mean, I don't know how much of the big, huge train wreck was CG'd. I'm not sure of that, but the after effects and stuff. But anyway, I just enjoyed it. I don't really have a mark about.
I have a question. There were a couple of times where there was this blue stripe.
Yeah, the flare
that that was a lens flare or something like that.
Kind of like a lens flare.
And I'm just curious if maybe if either of you knows if that was was that part of the homage to Steven Spielberg films, because there were some of those, weren't there, in like Close Encounters or something?
There were some in Close Encounters, and also there were a lot in Star Trek. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. So I think he just likes it. I don't know specifically, but he thinks, as I understood it, and I think I heard an interview with him, he finds them to be natural. Meaning that's what happens, and he doesn't want to get rid of them because he enjoys them, he likes them, he thinks they're natural, whatever. I would have to double check on that, but I think that's what he liked.
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it added a little bit of a layer of kind of mystery to what we were looking at, and I just enjoyed him. And that's enough for me. I was just wondering if there was maybe something else to him.
Other than that, cool. I don't know, but it wasn't. I mean, because every once in a while when I would, I did think of Close Encounters.
Yes.
Because it kind of has that kind of feeling to it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
One of the things I was surprised at was they didn't do that Spielberg push-pull anywhere.
Not once.
I was very surprised. At the end of the movie, I thought,
too much of an homage.
Too obvious.
I'm the director on this one.
And then I'm going to have Steven Spielberg come in.
Yeah,
I just thought
and everybody does them now. So
I know, but I haven't seen one in a while, and I thought of all places to put one in. This
I was happy not to see it only because everybody sees them.
It's ubiquitous.
Everybody does them.
All right.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I think the first time I ever saw it was Jaws, right?
I believe it was.
So it's. I don't. Can you explain it? Because I don't know how it's done. It's a technical thing.
As you're pushing in, you zoom out.
So it's when the camera. It's the camera moving in.
Double check me on that, would you?
Yeah. It's the camera moving into the subject while the lens is zooming out, and so it gives this kind of weird, freaky, uncomfortable feeling. It's really obvious when you see it. The first time everybody saw it, it was like, "Oh my God, what is that?"
Yeah. It's the Psycho effect now.
Yeah, exactly.
Alfred Hitchcock. But it's either you're zooming in as you're going out, or you're zooming in as you're
zooming out while you're pushing in.
You're pushing in, you zoom out, or you pull out and you zoom in. So
anyhow, I just missed it. That's all it is. Yeah. You would know it the second you saw it.
Yeah, I'm sure that I would.
Yeah, you've seen it a million times.
Yeah, you have.
You'd go, oh, that's what they're talking about. Yeah, but we didn't see it. And if we did, we missed it.
Yeah, if we did, it was a little too subtle for me.
I also noticed it was a very horizontal movie. Like, there wasn't a lot of up-down. There was mostly horizontal. Like, all the shots were usually very horizontal.
Very few times did we have the crane shots or anything like that. Interesting.
Which maybe made them more obvious, more important in the end when we were looking up toward the, down the hole and up toward the water tower.
Right. True that.
Thank you.
Nicely done. All right.
Next.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the editing because there's one thing that I was kind of what's the word? I don't have the anyway. As I'm watching it, I'm going, okay, why aren't we cutting back to the sheriff? Because I thought for me, just there was a rhythm problem from about the halfway point. For instance, we saw him take the little prism, the little Rubik's Cube-like object, Joe, early in the movie. And then a few scenes later, we see it vibrating on the table. And then we don't see it for another half an hour. And I'm going, what, if that thing was so important, what the heck happened there? Where did it go?
It did have a rhythm problem. And then, I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that bothered me is Kyle Chandler, the deputy, he's going to meet with the general because they're going to find out what's going on. He shows up at the base and gets arrested. And everybody's out. He's getting, whoa, no, I'm here to see the general. He gets arrested. And then we don't see him for, I don't know, a half an hour, 20 minutes. I don't know how long it is, but by the time we get back to them...
As long as it takes
Exactly. By the time we get back to him, I'm going, where is he? And he doesn't look like he's in a brig. He doesn't look like he's in a cell. It's like, why are we... What? Oh, that's right.
He's in the Matrix.
He got imprisoned, and and it was like, I think for me, I don't know if that was written into the story, if it was an editing thing. I'm not exactly sure. But I wanted those rhythms to be a little bit more... syncopatic so that you could stay with those stories that took me out of the movie. I had to think, where was he? Oh, that's right. And then I'm out of the movie for a little bit.
Because it had been too long.
It had been too long since we had seen it. And that kind of, I had wished that they had taken a moment to say, okay, we need to hit that guy. And it's not like I needed a scene. I just needed to remind me, show the guy in prison. Let me know where the heck he is. What's he trying to do? Is he trying to escape? What's going on? But next thing I know, he's trying to pee. What's going on? But I had to say, speaking of the Rubik's Cube thing, I thought it was great when they finally got that thing, we finally got back to that storyline, and it goes flying out of the house.
Yes.
Right through that poster of the shuttle, which that was a great find, where they got the poster of the shuttle. That was terrific. Nicely done. And then, ends up stuck to the water tower, which is odd. But why did it take so long to get stuck to the water tower if it's that amazing?
Maybe the monster didn't summon it yet or something.
The monster.
Well, because...
needed to be summoned.
Yeah, maybe he was just getting the power, the energy, the generator, whatever it was he was building down in that hole.
Maybe all those things, and that would have been interesting to pursue or to at least to talk about
But then they would have had to cut the train crash.
True.
Can't do that.
But what made it vibrate in the first place then? That's it's like you're giving me all these great hints and everything, but do something with it.
Well, that's
I didn't like the cube story.
You didn't like the cube story. You didn't think it was cool how they formed this spaceship?
I like that, but I wish that before that. Okay, I got a cube.
Yeah.
And it's now in a different shape than cube was originally.
Yeah. When it was in Joe's house,
it's in a different shape. Okay, I see that. And then it vibrates. Sweet. and then I didn't
That would
like
have been
it.
neat. I agree with that. That would have been neat to see. Because it was so amazing when we were looking at that newsreel footage of Dr. Woodward, how it's something, and then instantly fall. That was amazing to me. I loved that.
You got such a great thing like that. Let me
show me
Why
more.
can't it turn into like a thing and like, you know,
like a
entertain me?
That's a totally different movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it would have been interesting to see something with that.
Yeah, because they were fascinating. They were fascinating.
And, you know, there's some technology we haven't.
Can I say that where we saw the film last night?
Yeah,
we saw it at a special screening at Paramount.
Right.
And they had some of the costumes and some of the actual little cubes on display there.
Fabulous.
With a guard standing there. Nobody do not touch it. But it was really neat seeing the actual costumes from the film, and
they had the cars out. They had the yellow Buick Was it a Charger? What the hell was
Skylark.
it? Skylark. Thank you.
And then the police car up front. I actually have those. I think on my
stuff.
phone.
That was nice. It was good to see.
Yeah, so it was kind of neat to see those things. But the little cubes were fascinating to look at in real life, and it'd be interesting to see what else they had.
Somebody got a hold of it, was trying to.
I didn't like how the cars sounded. Can I just tell you that is not how they sounded.
What was wrong with the sound?
It's like a generic. That was not a 1970s sounding car.
It was. Can you demonstrate what that would sound like?
Well, they're usually like blub, 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 blub. There was no blubbing. There was just this steady car.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear that. Once more for those people listening.
It goes
yes,
blub 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 blub, and you can
Maria
and you
Kanellis,
have this.
thank you.
Thank you.
A very throaty Buick Skylark.
Yes. Well, it does. Those.
I know. I agree with you. I thought
my dad works on cars, and I was so excited to see all of them, and I was like, "Oh, sweet!" And I was trying to keep track of all the cars to make sure they were in the right time frame. And it's okay if you're, back a few years, but no. But they all did. They all had that huge grill on the front. And
could it have been because they had a muffler? And it wasn't taken off yet?
No, because that's just the sound that they made.
That's just the sound they make?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well,
Charlotte, will you be my... Oh, my.
Gorgeous. This is a vintage 1970s car commercial.
A Dodge Charger 500.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's the optional Hertz shifter.
Elliot?
Yeah.
Hey,
we want to hear the car.
They're hidden where the bumper loops around the grill.
Hey, these are I can put one on my...
Yeah.
Nice.
See how nice they fit?
My name's Sheila. What's yours?
I'm looking at
Elliot?
it right now.
That's a cute name.
My God, I thought this was a commercial. This is a dissertation.
This is X-rated for
1970 Charger 500. If you can cope with a whole new image, you could be Dodge material.
Wow. Back when commercials were over a minute.
2 minutes long, practically. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Phil. Don't do that again.
No problem.
I'm looking it up on my thing. I'll put it up here.
I'd rather hear Maria's version. Car.
Blah, blah, blah,
That's
blah,
it.
blah, blah, blah,
Exactly. I appreciate that so much more. Speaking of, since we're going to that sound, I already said it, but the sound was just driving me crazy. Do they think we're falling asleep in these things?
Maybe.
Are they trying to wake us up? Is that what they do? Is give us a surge of adrenaline so they have to pump it so loud? I mean, I'm not that old that I mind loud noises, okay? But I feel like it's like, we're not asleep, people. And I feel like they sometimes do it because they want to make sure let's pay attention. Any
you don't get any argument from me,
no?
so
okay.
I had earplugs in if we don't remember.
So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
It was a little bit. It all of a sudden went from 0 to 60 and like...
And I go, do you have to? I get it. I'm watching. Please, believe me, I'm paying attention. Wow.
I'm really watching. I really like it.
Exactly. I was so enjoying this
and
until
now,
that happened.
And now I just...
Would you shut up? What's this? You got to throw it. There we go.
That's what the...
Okay.
Nice. I still think Maria's is better, but she's got it on phone. Nice. She's found that.
Well, that's because this guy is like revving it. You should not do that to your engine, especially if you just started it.
You should never rev the engine. Well, this is good for our listeners to hear. So you should never rev the engine. Just let it go on its own accord, right?
Yeah, for a little while. Because if you rev it and it's cold, it might not all be lubricated properly. This is only for cars that are a little bit older.
It's not.
But if it's not lubricated properly, you don't just go in there.
We're talking about cars, right?
Yes. Okay, and
Just checking.
Yes.
Okay.
This is kind of a dream team that they got going with this whole J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg.
It appears we have.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I was just going to say that advice could be used on many.
And it could be used on many different levels. You don't just rev the engine. You
Let's go
work up to it.
Yes, it was a dream team. It was
Speaking of J.J. Abrams.
And Steven Spielberg. So,
and the casting.
So, first of all, I've been a fan of J.J. Abrams. I assume everybody has.
Yeah.
I loved his Star Trek. I thought that was a reinterpretation. Speaking of homage, reinterpretation.
I totally agree.
Hey, I think he did a great job of revamping that and revitalizing that, bringing new life to that thing. That was terrific. And so the question I ask is, has he done the same to this, or what were your feelings on that? Anything?
Oh, I mean, I really enjoyed the film, and I kind of, stated my whole dissertation in the beginning of our broadcast. But I think some of the nods to Spielberg were a little on the nose, a little too specific. I would have liked just a little more subtlety, but it's not going to stop me from recommending it.
Right.
I really loved it, and I loved the tone and the feel of so much of it. Okay. So that's pretty much all I have.
Well, that's kind of a dumb question, so I'm not even going to go further with that. Thank you for that. But the one thing I am curious is, did anybody have an idea why they chose to put it in 1979? That's when they set the movie.
I think it's because that's the Steven Spielberg horror movie heyday.
You think?
I do. Okay. Or maybe not horror movie, but Steven Spielberg heyday.
It's a fun time.
And it is a fun time.
Because it's a Steven Spielberg alien heyday. They've got Close Encounters, you got E.T., you've got all that.
Well, and Jaws, because that's a monster movie as well.
And you said it's a fun time.
It's a fun time. And plus, the cameras at that time were the right type of cameras to go along with this, to where they weren't, so fabulous and giant and, So
I thought this movie could have been just as successful.
Successful. That's a hard word.
Yeah, right. I don't hear it often. That's why. Just as successful if they put it in current times. I mean, the only thing, you can't call it Super 8. You gotta call it, I don't know, HD DVD or whatever. But it would have been just as successful. I don't
think it would have.
You don't think so? Why is that?
Because people want to see that time. People like to look back and go, look how funny they were.
Yeah, but the kids don't like to look back like that.
I don't know.
You think?
I think we need a kid,
I think also there is the innocence of childhood, the simplicity of the time is something that really was necessary for the story. Mm-hmm. It's not to say you can't get those things in current times, but there's so much more going on, and things are faster, and things are louder, and things are, you're being bombarded with.
They would have been making Facebook.
What's that?
They would have been making Facebook, not...
Exactly.
They would have been making a movie
instead of a movie.
Yeah.
They would have been making a movie on their laptop.
They would have had a phone, and they would have had the laptops, and then they wouldn't have had to go to the place to make the phone call to the girl.
Yeah, but that's an easy thing to figure out. I mean, your laptop's crashed. There's the information's been compromised.
I don't like this time.
I don't like it.
You don't like this time?
We don't like it now. We like it in the 70s.
Because some films were just not as... They're not as great now for some reason to me.
By the way, the 70s was considered the golden age of film.
Sure, I know.
So, well, there you go. That's another reason.
But it's 79. 79 was not the golden age of film.
Okay, but that era was.
79 was not the golden age of film.
When did Chinatown come out? Of course, it was the golden age of film. Come on,
Chinatown. But that was just, I don't know. I like that.
So, no, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm saying
better.
that you think it looks better?
Yes. I think it looks like not from it was filmed better at that time. No, like if I'm going to film something, if I'm going to film now, people dress now, or people dress then, it's a lot more interesting dressed then, I think. Just like it's a lot more interesting dressed when we did the Borgias. Right. Like, that's amazing to watch.
Yes.
I don't want to watch the same,
Right. Well,
give me a rom-com with that.
It's not like I disagree with them choosing to put it in 1979. I'm just curious as to why. And I do think it would be a good film, contemporary. I think they could easily make it work. I mean, and they do it all the time. But I was just...
John, are you offering to make a YouTube parody?
No, because I don't have time to do craft services and costumes right now.
Yeah, you're going to come on board with me on that one?
And lighting and acting.
I may be up for that.
Oh, yeah? All right, if you're up for it, I'm in.
Well, speaking of YouTube films, can we talk about the film at the credits?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course. Anybody goes see this, you better stay through the end of the credits because you've got to watch the film.
That the
real
kids
film
made,
of the
film
movie.
that Joe and Charles
But this
made.
is the real film. The J.J. Abrams' film is nice.
It was a cute little thing J.J. Abrams
the Super
made.
8 took, but the
this is the
movie
real
at the end,
film.
at the credits, this is the one that had power, it had passion.
What was it called?
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
It was so overwhelming.
Yes.
One title can't encapsulate
No,
it, so that's why I
Not at
forgot
all.
it. It had, the acting wasn't superb. I think the editing,
was
cinematography,
beautiful.
and the costuming. I mean, my God. And these kids, talk about maturity. The levels that they were able to create.
Now, as somebody who may have made films like that in the, let's say, 80s.
Yeah.
Mr. Comerford.
Yeah. I actually did.
I know you
I actually
did.
and I made a Steven Spielberg
You
ripoff.
did.
I did.
Called?
The Extra Tomato. Instead of the Extraterrestrial.
E.T. the Extra Tomato. And I was flashing back to some of those films that you guys made while I was watching that because, you all could have been in the same production house.
I'm in love with that. The Extra Tomato.
E.T. the Extra Tomato. It was
juicy.
I'm sure it was.
Tasty.
But I just thought
At this
that
point,
was...
it's an heirloom.
Was it filmed on red?
Oh, nice one.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. I just thought it was incredibly charming to have that in the end.
Oh, that was great.
It was, the acting was just classic.
Yeah,
and the phone had no phone cord plugged into it at one point. All those great little moments that you see.
But, it was so good that I didn't pay attention to anything.
I didn't see a single credit. I didn't see
either.
a single one.
And I was supposed to write some of these down. I'm going, oops. Because I just was watching they were terrific, those kids.
They were great.
They were.
And
weren't
the
they?
zombies were great.
It was good stuff. You can't beat that.
Loved the zombies.
All right. Well, I think we've reached the point where we should head to our commercial break. So, Phil, this is my warning to you. We're going into our commercial break.
Right about...
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Oh, nice. Nice music. Is this from E.T.?
Mm-hmm. It's my homage from here at the booth.
I know, but it is E.T. Okay.
Oh, that brings tears to my eyes to hear that song, right?
A nicer time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
A nicer time.
A nicer time.
So there you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Why don't they make movies like that anymore? Let's all just listen.
I'll leave it quiet in the background.
Oh, thank you. You're
Speaking of that, there was some original music that was written by Michael Giacchino.
Yes, we were.
Did we talk about that already?
Well, no, but
the original
Maria
music I thought was really beautiful. What did I miss?
Oh, just before we went on there, actually, she was commenting about how they've worked together on many.
They worked on Star Trek and Alias, but he also worked on Up and The Incredibles.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a very busy guy and extremely talented.
And they're both, J.J. Abrams and the composer are working on Mission Impossible, which should be out, I think it's 2012,
I'm excited about that one. I was a huge Mission Impossible fan when I was a kid. Oh,
Absolutely.
my gosh.
We used to do Mission Impossible all the time, my brothers and I.
I used to have to, because it was on way after my bedtime.
No. Not that kind of deal.
Because it was on way after my bedtime, I would have to watch from the hallway.
Yeah,
because
so
my
you
parents
could-
would be sitting on the couch watching it, and I would watch from the hallway, and they would sometimes hear us back there.
So you had to do an impossible mission just to watch it?
That's right.
Nice. We had to do the same thing. We had to sneak behind everybody and not let them know we were in the room.
Yeah.
We watched the most horrible things at my house. Everything. It was just on my dad had no qualms about it. We watched whatever, Bloodsport,
nice.
Like all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, all the Schwarzenegger movies, all the... Yeah.
It obviously didn't have a bad effect on you.
No.
So there you go.
I mean, I did fight for a living. But,
well, there's that.
But you won. So.
There is that. I did all right,
Well, I have nothing else. Does anybody else need to add anything? Want to add anything? Ask anything?
Thoroughly entertaining.
What did it make? 37 million?
38 million this
38
weekend so far. It's doing very well. It's had mostly positive reviews, and we can absolutely see why.
Of course.
So we hope it does really well.
Yeah.
And I thought this is the interesting note. It's the first movie that has been a non-sequel live action to hit the top spot. This year, I think.
No
this year.
kidding.
That's amazing.
Well, I'm happy for that.
Absolutely,
really happy
so
for
am I.
that. I love that parents and kids both enjoy it.
Right.
The woman sitting next to me in the theater was wrapped up in pretzels with her hands practically over her eyes. She was so scared the whole time and so on edge. So it just great suspense.
Right.
Great. It
and
was
I hope
wonderful.
it does very well because I would like to see more original stuff. And granted, this
Amen.
is kind of an homage, reinterpretation, whatever you want to call it. So in that sense, it's not completely original, but I'm tired of the sequels.
Me too.
I know the audience likes the sequels, but I would like to let's have the sequels, but let's also have some original stuff too. Yep. So that's why I want this thing to do well. So hopefully that corporate or programs that are running the show will see that there's value there.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, interesting thought. Well, let me ask you this.
Let us decide that.
A, Oscar contender. B, all the Oscar contenders, for the most part, were original. Social Network,
exactly.
Inception, King's Speech.
I don't think it's going to be an Oscar contender, only because of the time. It's going to, by the time it gets around to Oscar contenders, they're going to have all the artsy movies and all that kinds of stuff that'll come out, and this one will have had its
too long past in the history.
And I don't think they were going for that. I don't think it's just not one of those movies that the that the Oscars go for.
Yeah,
it's just not one.
The other thing I think this is going
Academy,
to be is a film that will be looked at in film school.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Why is that?
Because it is an homage to Steven Spielberg and his techniques and the places where he blazed trails. There, it'll be something. The modern sort of homework, I think, for kids in film school.
Wasn't it nice to see the way that the kids blew up the train and the way that the adults blew up the train?
Yeah. Speaking of the movie, at the end of when we're watching the credits, they actually show the movie and we get to see that train, that little toy train being...
Toy train, and then the adults took care of it.
It was good to see. Yeah. Now, okay, speaking as an Emerson alum... Phil?
Yes, that's me.
Yes. Do you think they're going to be seeing this in Emerson? Do you think they're going to be speaking about this, looking at this?
Later on down the line, I mean... For film schools to really qualify films as worthy of study, it has to kind of stand the test of time,
I see.
As it should, I don't, you know what I mean?
So Bridesmaids won't really be there for a while?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we the films we studied, The Conversationist, a lot of Alfred Hitchcock movies, things of that nature. But again, the reason why you're able to study something is because it must stand the test of time,
Okay.
And unless it's like a current events kind of class, it really has no place,
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You actually made sense. Thank you, Phil. I'm sorry, that was terrible. I apologize.
I take your apology with a grain of salt.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Having a little cat fight over here.
We have contention. We have issues.
I got nothing else.
That's it.
I'm it.
That's
I'm
it.
out.
We're done. You got anything?
Okay.
So,
what
ladies and gentlemen,
movie can we look forward to?
What movie can we look forward to?
That you guys want to see, or AfterBuzz people should be looking forward to?
Harry Potter.
All right.
I really want to see the final Harry Potter and do an AfterBuzz and talk about it.
Oh, nice.
It's coming up in July, right?
Yeah, I read all the books, and then I've seen all the movies many times, and I buy them as soon as they come out. So
we have an avid fan.
Yes, well, we are planning on doing it. We're in talks with the guys from MuggleCast.
Yes.
You guys should check those guys out. They're
fabulous.
They're amazing on iTunes.
Okay.
Maria, we should get you to... How funny would it be if we got... By the way, these are like... No offense to them, but they're Harry Potter nerds.
Yeah.
But they're amazing. I love
They would
them.
probably say that about
They're
themselves.
how I was when I was in grade school. Got it.
We should put you in that pairing when they go to the premiere.
Yes.
And see how they react by having, a female that's obviously beautiful.
No, you can just say female, but beyond that.
Yeah, even just female, that would be hilarious.
Female.
Exactly.
I should pull out my old blue glasses that are about this big and
Nice.
like my tight rolled jeans and go in there like that.
I like it. Let's do this.
No, definitely I would love to.
You have a movie that's coming up that you want
I don't know. I mean,
I have a warm spot. I'm looking forward to the
warm
Green
spot in your
Lantern.
heart. Yeah, Green Lantern.
But
Green Lantern. Okay.
I haven't heard enough about it. I'm trying not to hear anything about it. Because I liked Green Lantern as a kid. Still do. I still have a shirt, Green Lantern. So.
Yes, you do.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think Ryan Reynolds is a good actor. So we'll see
sexy.
how he does. Oh, and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say he's a good actor and sexy as hell.
Yeah.
Tamara, do you have a movie that you're looking forward to?
I want to see, I don't know that we would do an AfterBuzz on it, but I want to see Midnight in Paris.
Okay.
Oh, right.
The Woody
Sure.
Allen.
Yeah, that's been out for a while.
Yeah,
so
I want to see that one.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I would love to hear what listeners would like for us to talk about. If anybody has
That's
suggestions,
great.
let
If
us
you have
know.
suggestions, let us know.
info@AfterBuzzTV.com. Is that right? Got it. info@AfterBuzzTV.com. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, well, that wraps up AfterBuzz's edition of Super 8.
Thanks for listening.
We all enjoyed it. Go watch it. Have a good time. Get your popcorn. Have some fun.
And if we missed anything, again, let us know at info@AfterBuzzTV or go on our Facebook or tweet us for more direct kind of
contact.
Yeah, exactly. At AfterBuzzTV.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.